Superhero movies are often fairly lengthy films, seeing as they sometimes have to tell exact origin stories as well as serve up a sizable amount of action, and as such they usually leave a lot of irrelevant scenes on the cutting room floor. Away from what fans actually get to see in cinemas, there's a whole host of deleted scenes and cut parts that could have changed the way everyone views the world's highest grossing franchise. The MCU currently consists of more than 20 full-length films released over the past 11 years, which totals up to about 3,000 minutes of story, action, and credits. However, all of the movies at one point existed in longer versions before certain scenes were removed, for many of which Marvel surely had a good reason to do so. However, there are lots of deleted scenes that you can't help but wish had made their way into the MCU. They may add depths to side characters, explain the motivation of villains, or just give us an extra dose of great action. Therefore, we have prepared 10 deleted Marvel movie scenes for you to check out. Everyone talks about one of the biggest omissions in the MCU being the lack of a female-led movie, something that Marvel seemed to have started working on, and who's better to take the lead than Natasha Romanoff? She is one of the deadliest members of the Avengers, and it's been up to Scarlett Johansson to fly the flag of gender equality ever since the very early days of the Marvel Universe. The past and origin story of the Black Widow are perfect for a spy movie, and there was even a deleted scene from Captain America: The Winter Soldier that proved this. The scene shed more light on Black Widow's past when Alexander Pierce mentioned Budapest, Osaka, and the Children's War. This scene presented more context and proved that we really do need a Black Widow movie. When Thor, Rocket Raccoon, and Groot visit the star forge of dwarves called Nidavellir, they were up for a huge surprise. In Thor: The Dark World, the convergence of the 9 realms and the discovery of the Aether are what brought the dark elf Malekith out of his long sleep. The villain was ready to plunge the universe back into darkness, using the open portals of all the realms to unleash the Aether into all of them at once. Thor and the company work tirelessly to restore the Might Furnace that once made legendary Asgardian weapons like Mjolnir. Thor is granted the Stormbreaker, and the first thing he does with his new power was to use it to summon lightning in a moment of triumph, but unfortunately the scene was edited out of the movie. Probably none of the deleted scenes gets anywhere near as dark as one from The Incredible Hulk. Back when he looked like Edward Norton instead of Mark Ruffalo, Bruce loads a gun intending to shoot himself in the head while up in some snowy mountains. It can be presumed that it was decided that the opening was too dark for a family-oriented superhero film, so it was replaced. Later, this moment is referenced in The Avengers when Banner says, "I put a bullet in my mouth and the other guy spit it out." Presumably because of the dark thematic material of this clip in a PG-13 movie, the scene was cut, but can now be found as a deleted scene on YouTube. Marvel fans know that Donald Glover campaigned for years to play fan-favorite alternative Spider-Man Miles Morales. Though he didn't get his wish in Spider-Man Homecoming, he did get to play Miles' uncle, Aaron Davis. In this deleted scene, there's an exciting tease for one of the most intriguing potential characters in this new Spider-Man arc. While Aaron's comic book history as the villainous Prowler and uncle to the future Spider-Man was only alluded to, one of the movie's deleted scenes really hammered home the family connection. After Peter Parker webs Aaron Davis to his car and lets him know the webbing won't dissolve for 2 hours, Davis makes a call where he calls his nephew and says, "Yeah, sorry Miles, I'm not gonna make it." There were a lot of deleted scenes from Thor: The Dark World, mostly because it changed directors and then ended up edited by a studio that lost confidence in their second choice. One of the deleted scenes was a dream sequence, which likely resulted in its omission. Loki was one of the key character developments, going from an envious son-brother into a world-conquering villain, and then back to a tragic hero, but part of his charm is the fact that he felt wronged all along. This scene opens up with a wide sweeping shot of Asgard, then enters a large chamber where an enormous crowd applauds their new ruler Loki. He steps up, basks in the admiration of the people, then catches and wields Mjolnir. But then he's interrupted by Frigga and the illusion drops, and it's revealed that she's visiting him in his prison cell. While the scene may be unnecessary for the plot, it shows Loki's desire for some love and attention. Joss Whedon once planned on completely changing the fate of a major character with the jaw-dropping reveal that Quicksilver survived the events of Avengers Age of Ultron. The death of Quicksilver was something of a shock, which is exactly what Whedon was aiming for. He wanted to give the film a kind of a war movie feel where not everyone made it out alive. But he almost changed his mind and had the speedster recover from his seemingly fatal shooting when he'd shot an alternative ending where Pedro Maximoff's gunshot wounds weren't fatal, and he stood by his sister's side. Another scene that was actually filmed featured Quicksilver simply waking up and saying, "Ah, I didn't really die from these 47 bullet wounds."
You didn't see that coming.
The fans really got used to seeing Peter Quill flirting with the opposite sex. However, the importance of a blue-skinned Corbinite T. Asha Ra being cut from Guardians of the Galaxy is related to her species. When Peter Quill comes back to Xander, a furious Barit leaves him in anger, and a few seconds later Quill is already hitting on another one, this time blue-skinned and with a beautiful black mane. The deleted scene showed Quill chatting to T. Asha on Xander, and with Corbinite still failing to make it into the MCU, it's a pretty big deal considering the most famous one is Beta Ray Bill. In the comics, T. Asha Ra is also the girlfriend of Beta Ray Bill, the fan favorite character famously cut from Taika Waititi's Thor Ragnarok. The Amazing Spider-Man 2 begins with Peter Parker's parents falling out of an airplane as it explodes in mid-air and goes crashing to the Earth's surface. However, now a deleted scene from the film has been released that would have taken place at the end of the film, and supposedly now his dead dad shows up. While Peter Parker is grieving for his loss, he is approached by a man claiming to be Richard Parker, his father, whom Peter believed dead. It's probably a good thing this scene was left out, as it would have only meant we had more questions left unanswered. Peter is pretty deep in mourning at this point of the film, so it could have been a hallucination, but we could only guess.
I'm not dead, Peter. I had to die to keep you alive. I had to disappear to keep you safe, Peter. Listen to me. I had to disappear to keep my mistakes from catching up with you. I had to stay away from you to keep Osborn from hurting you. You understand what I'm saying?
Before he became one of Phase 3's most powerful heroes, Dr. Stephen Strange was introduced to the fans as an egotistical jerk who only cared about fame and money. While his solo movie Doctor Strange gave us a solid version of his journey from surgeon to broken man to superhero, there wasn't even that glimmer of hope at the beginning that showed his compassionate side. A scene where he comes across an injured dog during the time that he was trying to find the Ancient One was unfortunately cut. Right before Benedict Cumberbatch is beaten up by thieves in Nepal, he comes across a stray dog with a very badly injured leg. Even for a man who has hit rock bottom in his own life, he uses anything he can find around him to make a splint for the dog so he can walk on all four legs again, all while Baron Mordo watches him from the shadows. Director Scott Derrickson has explained that the scene was cut because it was too much and too soon for the arc of Strange becoming less selfish.
There you go. Oh. Yeah, shaking my hand now. Wait till you get the bill. How's your insurance, son?
Mark Ruffalo's Bruce Banner and his green alter ego went through more character development than we had seen in any of his previous MCU appearances. Although we didn't get to see all of his character arcs on screen, this next deleted scene gives us a fun alternate take on how he made his final evolution. The scene featured Bruce Banner pleading with the Hulk to come out and fight Thanos' intergalactic thug Call. In this version, Banner and Hulk come to an understanding, and Hulk rips out of the Hulkbuster armor to fight and kill Call. We also see Natasha preparing to talk him back down into Bruce again until she realizes they've joined forces to become one being, different from how we see it play out in the films where they don't become one until after killing Thanos in Avengers Endgame. It actually looks like it would have made a great scene, but the filmmakers decided not to bring Hulk back in this movie after being beaten down by Thanos earlier in the film.